Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. It is Dr. Shani, and today I'm coming with a little Wednesday inspiration. And I was thumbing through my book, The Struggle is Real, but You Can Succeed, which I wrote in 2017. And one of the titles of the chapter, the title was Let Your Haters Motivate You. So I want to talk about that a little bit today. I was feeling very inspired today and really had a little motivational message to give my students really about focusing on their goals, really thinking about what they wanted to do beyond earning their BSW degrees. And I was just encouraging them. I was saying, you got to stay focused and you need to know what it is you want to do. You don't have to have everything figured out, but you really have to have a level of focus and dedication if you're really going to impact the mental health world. And so when I wrote that book in 2017, The Struggle is Real, but You Can Succeed, it was all really about me thinking about some of the trials and struggles I had experienced throughout my academic journey from, undergraduate student at Tougaloo College to graduate student at Clark Atlanta and to graduate student at the University of Alabama, a BS degree, two masters and a PhD. And throughout that whole, you know, time period that I was in school, I dealt with a lot of positive people and had great mentors and, had positive family support. But I also encountered some distractors or, individuals I perceive to be haters. And so I wrote a chapter in it in my book. And so I want to talk about that a little bit today. And so, who are haters? I looked up the definition and of what it means to distract. And a distractor, in my view, is really a person who is trying to, you know, take your attention away from something. And that's also what the definition says. And so when you think about haters or individuals who you perceive to be hating on you, and we know what that means, it could be like jealousy, envy, people who just don't want you to succeed. What they're really trying to do is to distract you. And so a hater is really a distractor, okay? And they mean to take your attention away from whatever goal you have, whatever activity you set forth, or whatever that thing is that you've set out to do. They want to divert your attention away from that goal, that thing, that activity to them. Okay. So haters can come in all shapes and sizes. Okay. All backgrounds, all colors. They can be family members. I've experienced that. Coworkers have certainly experienced that. They can be people who you perceive to be friends. Throughout my life, I have certainly perceived that. They can even be neighbors, social media contacts. Some could be even people you don't even know. Think about celebrities and how so many people hate on celebrities, and the celebrity probably has never met these people, will never come in contact with these individuals. But keep in mind, although we will deal with haters, not all people are hating, but there are some people out there who do hate on our success. And so when I talk, I really like to kind of intersperse my faith into what I'm talking about because that's something that is real and true to me. So when you know a hater is around you or a distractor, that's a more sophisticated way of saying a hater, distractor, right? Something in that relationship just does not sit right. Maybe you've tried to mesh with them, but every time it's just like some conflict comes up or that relationship just doesn't mesh well. And it doesn't necessarily mean that all the time that person is hating, but if you are in the presence of someone who secretly dislikes you or they are jealous or envious of you, or they kind of have some hatred in their heart or in their mind about you, that relationship just doesn't sit well. Everything y'all try to do is always some type of conflict. And when you think about it, that conflict emanates if you're a spiritual person or a person who is in Christ like I am, it's because your spirits aren't synced, right? Y'all aren't not aligned. And so one person may be kind of aligned with the evil or with the darkness. And so in John 15:18, it says, if the world hates you, you know that it hated me before it hates you. Sometimes people hate and they don't even know why they're hating. And they don't even really know that they're being used as a pawn for Satan to do his work. And so pray for those people who really, really hate on you or you perceive them to be haters, but also pray for yourself so that God gives you wisdom and insight in how to deal with them and still love them, because our goal is to still love people. We don't necessarily have to, you don't have them in our space. And sometimes we do have to work with people who are haters or still have them in our family, in our, in our space in kind of way. But it's about how we engage that relationship. Okay. So haters oftentimes are hating or creating this confusion or trying to divert your attention because they perceive you to possess something that they don't have. Now, who knows what that something is? It could be something silly like social media followers. And we know that there are real people behind social media accounts, and sometimes they're bots and not real people. But sometimes people get really, you know, upset about social media followers. I am not a person who has any number of followers. I'm so grateful for the followers that I do have, but compared to a lot of other people, I do not have a lot of social media followers. But I have heard conversations from smaller YouTubers where they are talking about people who really like start to hate on them as their channels start to grow. And I'm just like, wow, that's so crazy because everybody can start a YouTube channel. It's like free. It's free to start. Everybody, I think, really should have a YouTube channel or social media if that's what you're into. But I just mentioned social media because you do see a lot of hate around that, or it can be outward manifestations of things like success or people or their perceptions of success. Some people get upset about physical property, wealth, education, and even believe it or not, if you have a close walk with Christ or with God, some people can become upset by that. If they perceive you to be the favorite in something, they could get really upset. And so we know in James 3 and 16, it says, for where envying and strife is, there is confusion in every evil work. So again, that kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. When you're trying to have relationships with these folks who are kind of like haters or distractors, it's always some confusion. It's always something. And it's really hard to kind of navigate these relationships because you're like, dang, I'm just trying to be me. I'm just trying to live my life, live my life out here. And you hating and you don't even know the struggle, or you don't even know what it took for me to get to where I am today. So going to my book, The Struggle is Real, but You Can Succeed, I wrote in chapter, in one of my chapters, I closed the book out, but I think it's chapter 19. But I wrote that I had watched the Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather fight that took place in 2017. And I'm going to say 2017 because that's when I wrote my book. But I also I said I didn't get a chance to see the fighters weigh in, but I went to YouTube. And I was really excited because, as you know, my husband has had his own gym, mixed martial artist. And so we're into, like watching UFC. I like to watch the fights. But essentially, I watched both competitors and they had large security details. They were strutting their stuff. They went to the weigh-in. And so they made it to the stage, and McGregor was interviewed by a reporter. And he mainly talked a lot of trash about Floyd Mayweather, right? Okay. And we know, like when you're talking about UFC fighting, people are going to talk trash. It's the nature of the game. It's like marketing, it sells tickets because people like to see that tension. Who's going to win? Is it going to be Floyd or is it going to be, Conor? We already know one, right? We know Floyd, right? Okay. So essentially, they were trash talking. And also the fans, they were like really like team McGregor. Everybody was like rooting for McGregor. And so the reporter spoke to Floyd Mayweather, and this is what I wrote in my book. The reporter spoke to Floyd Mayweather. And so when the reporter came to Mayweather, he was poised, he was calm, he wasn't even unnerved during his interview. And when he was asked about the fans and their overwhelming support for McGregor, he said very calmly, fans don't win fights. Fights win fights. That was so poignant to me that I had to write about it in my book. He said fans don't win fights. Fights win fights. And so I went on to write that resonated with me because Floyd Mayweather was absolutely right. In your life, you will have haters and people who do not support you. And ultimately, they have no power to determine your success at any endeavor. Your haters or distractors may make noise. They may attempt to distract you from your purpose, and they may talk trash about you. I deal with this all the time with people just having the wrong perception. And even when you try to correct that perception, they still gonna be talking trash. I walk confidently in every room with my head held up. But ultimately, I want you all to know that your personal dedication, commitment to your goals, professionalism, and expertise are the things that will propel you to the next level of success. So when you are faced with haters, whether they are your family members, co-workers, people who you think are your friends or you thought were your friends, keep in mind their noise is just noise, okay? So brush their comments off and stay focused. And remember the words of Floyd Mayweather: fights fans, excuse me, don't win fights. So it's not about the people who are out there talking. It's about these knuckles, okay? So fights win fights. So ultimately, keep that in mind. In mind, it doesn't matter what people say against you. It does not matter what they say. You have to know who you are. You have to be confident in your skill set, confident in your ability, confident in your talents, the God-given things that the Lord has given you to be successful on this earth before He calls you home. Okay. And so keep that in mind when you are leading, when you are trying to be successful at any endeavor. People will talk, okay? You know, and when you get that noise and aggravation, just understand it's all a part of success and being successful. I have people who don't want me to be successful in my environment, but guess what? I keep succeeding. I keep God first, and I'm going to always win because I know who my guiding light is. So fans don't win fights. Fights win fights. Your intelligence will win that fight. Your humility, your character, all of the wonderful things you have going for you, your education, the fortitude that you have, your resilience, your determination to succeed, those things will help you win the fight of life. And in the end, we know ultimately that Floyd Mayweather won against Conor McGregor and retained his title as the undisputed, boxing champion of the world, lightweight boxing champion of the world, and set a new all-time record of 50-0. So keep that in mind. Fans don't win fights. Fights win fights. So when you go, fights win fights. So when you go into that boardroom and they're hating, when you walk into that building, they're hating, you go to the family reunion cookout, they're looking at you crazy, pray for them. Pray for them because they know not what they do. Give them grace and keep moving, keep shining, and don't let distractors distract you or get your attention off of the purpose that God has placed in your heart and in your mind and the purpose that He's called you to walk out in your life. So I hope this helps someone if you're dealing with haters, as I deal with routinely from all walks of life. Keep on keeping on, hold your head up high, and keep being beautiful, handsome, wonderful. Keep doing the wonderful things that God has called you to do. Okay. I'm always open to speaking to people. So check out my website and send me an email if you have any questions or would like me to talk about any particular topic. All right. You guys have a beautiful evening.